Welcome to Totally Talent Podcast by HR.com, your go-to source for all things talent. Whether you're looking for expert insights on high-volume hiring, the latest trends in recruitment technology, or strategies for building a winning team, we've got you covered. Join us for each episode as we dive deep into the challenges and opportunities shaping the talent landscape today. Let's get started.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Totally Talent on HR.com. I'm your host, Mike Wood, and we have a special military episode today. I'm thrilled to talk to Tim Best, who is the CEO of RecruitMilitary.com, and Hari Kolam, who is the CEO of Findem, which is a TA vendor out in the space that does a lot of good data on skills and candidates, and they have partnered together. So I want to talk about like how we're helping veterans find work. So welcome both of you. And Tim, if you want to start us off and just give us a little bit of a intro and who you are and a little bit about what Recruit Military does for veterans.
Sure thing. And thanks, Mike. Glad to be here. I'll start with my background. I'm fortunate enough and really blessed to be the CEO of an incredible team of people here at Recruit Military. I've been in the military recruitment space since I left the Army in 1999. Before leaving the Army, I spent 9 years as a special operations attack helicopter pilot flying little birds in the 160th SOAR. Had the coolest job in the world for sure. But like everyone else, at some point it was my time to transition, and I did. And I've always been passionate about helping others with their transition. And at Recruit Military, we're a connector. You know, our mission is connecting employers with the military community. We create these connections through our career fairs. We do close to 100 of them a year across the country, in person, virtually, on military installations in big markets at NFL and MLB stadiums. We help employers onboard veterans through our placement service. We help create trust and awareness with employer brands through our recruitment marketing products. And then our job board and database is where we bring the audiences together digitally. And, you know, we're here to talk about what I think is the largest innovation I've seen in my time in the space that's been created through our partnership with Findem, leveraging our 3 decades of experience and data and knowledge with their incredible 3D data set and their AI-powered platform, creating the veteran talent source, putting this tool in a recruiter's hands everywhere, surfacing veterans for virtually every search and in a way that they can be understood. And I know we're going to talk more about that. I can't stop talking about it, so I'll stop there.
No, it's great. I want you guys on here to talk about this because this is a great partnership that you guys have together. And so, Hari, I'd love to have you just kind of introduce yourself and find them and what you do for TA professionals out there.
Thank you, Mike. Findem is disrupting the talent acquisition space, and we are a Redwood City, California-based startup, venture-backed startup, right? I mean, as a founder and entrepreneur living in the Valley for the past 15 years, pretty much most of my career has gone into identifying problems that have a deep-rooted data and data infrastructure dependency, right? So we believe that talent acquisition and people search and people discoverability is foundationally a data problem, which is being masqueraded as a AI problem, right? So one of the core reasons why we exist is the belief that in the world of AI, there needs to be a better way to represent people, because when you think about the old school way of how people describe themselves, it is either a LinkedIn profile or a resume. They are self-declared, incomplete, and inconsistent piece of information that is fundamentally not trustworthy in the world of AI today, where with a single prompt and a job description, you can generate any resume of your choice. It's very the trustworthiness is only going to go down. So there is a need for better discoverability of talent, right? I mean, for the AI first future, and more so than not, when you think about discoverability of a person, it's currently has reduced itself to what a person says about themselves in English, because the way you search for people is based on Boolean string of keywords that one has used. If a recruiter uses the wrong choice of keywords, they probably are not going to surface candidates that I think is very much relevant for the job, right? The problem amplifies significantly in the when you're discovering military veterans, and this partnership is special because it tends to essentially solve it foundationally at the core, which is what are the right ways to look at people through the attributes that they bring onto the table versus the way they describe themselves in English, right? Which has been the mission of Findem, which actually greatly amplifies through this partnership. We coined this word 3D data to actually talk about a mechanism to digitize the career of a professional. And a career of a professional is not just about them; it's about them, their workplace, which is their company, and the time when they were there. So, person, company, and time is a very interesting paradigm because it intends to capture the whole career in a digital way on which you can apply automation on top. So, Findem is a data first company, and discoverability is one of the important problems that we solve. We do uh, build myriads of workflows on top of this data centralization. And this partnership really amplifies the core essence of why we exist.
That's great. And like, so Tim, you spent a career in the military, and usually I think that's about like 20 years or so. But like most people that come out of that career in the military, and they're probably in their late 30s or something like that, and now they're entering the civilian world. Do you just want to talk about like what did you face when you were coming out of the Army in '99 even?
Yeah, I love talking about that. And, Mike, in 1999, there weren't nearly the amount of resources that there are now. And then I think about this technology, and it's just it's such an awesome thing to have in place now. In 1999, for me personally, it was a challenge to even understand what was next for me. I was in a pretty specific career field, like a lot of our veterans were. Right, I was flying helicopters. I've been doing very specific things now. What I knew about me, but that was hard to convey in a resume back then or to get other people to understand, was flying a helicopter was something I was doing maybe 1 to 2 hours a day. On some days a lot longer, but there was so much more to my experience. And that brings to mind kind of that three-dimensional view of people that Hari's team believes is really important, and so do we. So it was about, how do I get out there and express my background in leadership, my background in, you could have all these different skills and attributes that you've been honing in your time in the military and before that are super valuable in all of these roles. They just don't match up well against a job description. And
Yeah.
so frankly, I was lucky in a lot of ways. I got in front of the right people and found a job and a career path that I just fell in love with. But that's not always been the case. And that's what we're here for.
Do you miss flying a helicopter 2 hours a day or something? Because I would love flying a helicopter 2 hours a day.
I actually get asked that a lot, and I really don't. I miss what we did in my community, and I miss the people I did it with. But for me, there was maybe I feel like I checked that block of being a pilot, and it was time to move on.
I'm
to the
sure
next
it's
thing.
fun for I one of my first jobs was working at a driving range, picking up the driving range balls and driving that little like apparatus around, and it's cool for like a couple days, and then it's just whatever. It's just work, and so I'm sure it gets to that point. But
Yeah.
I love the fact that, so you had a job in the Army that would, you're flying helicopters, but you put that on a line item on a resume. Nobody knows exactly what that means. You got to break it down to the individual components that make you successful. Like, I'm sure safety, thinking on your feet, being able to adapt to different conditions. Like, there's a lot in there, and I'm sure that's a little bit of what Findem does with the 3D technology, is finding these attributes that's in there that the candidate themselves has a hard time putting into words, right?
Right. It's exactly right.
Awesome. So, tell me about like, moving forward. This is going to help companies find more veteran talent. It's a win for the companies. It's a win for the veterans themselves. I can't see any losers in this whole thing. I think it's a great service that is going to help candidates. I was telling you a little bit off the air that my golf buddy, I play in an old man league on Wednesday nights, and he was a career Air Force guy. And he retired a couple of years ago. So I've known him through the transition, and he left the Air Force, and now he's in logistics for a company that supplies stuff with the military. But like he said, there's a lot in there in terms of, even the emotional transition that goes into, leaving, combat and coming into like the civilian thing. I mean, I'm sure there's resources out there, but are there, is there anything that you could point to as, some of the emotional ways that you're like helping veterans.
Yeah, no, for sure. And thanks for touching on that, because that, to our team here at RecruitMilitary, that's kind of what gets us up every morning. It really is. And a lot of it is helping create confidence. And that's this partnership we've created with Findem. One of the underpinning, major factors there is we know that one of the things that undermines confidence when you're transitioning is what I mentioned during mine was I didn't know, I kind of knew what I was good at, but I had no idea how that translated into all the jobs that were out there. And then even if I thought I knew, how to get them to understand that I could do it. So we attack that confidence issue specifically through this partnership by helping veteran registrants understand that this tool is going to go out and convey them as a three-dimensional whole human being with all of these attributes that's more than just the thing they did in the military. The thing they did in the military certainly elevates a lot of those attributes, but this gives them the knowledge knowing that now instead of having to translate their own background, figure out how to translate a job description, which, Mike, I'm sure you're an expert on that with your background of how
Nope.
complex that can be.
Yeah.
We let the power of the platform do the translating and bring together job descriptions and veterans in a way that no one could have done before, and in a way that everybody can understand. So in essence, what we're doing is we're creating a pull system. What we hear from job seekers all the time, I get so frustrated applying, and never hearing back. Well, with the veteran talent source, what's going to happen is this continues to penetrate the market. Recruiters are going to see veterans for what they really can be and what they really are. And they're going to be reaching out to the veteran saying, I recognize you. I've got something for you. And, that takes time for that sort of momentum to build, but it's a complete paradigm shift for the world that I've been a part of for the past almost 30 years.
And it's funny to think of, okay, yes, there needs to be this translation services of skills for the military because it's like metric and imperial. They're two different languages, but there's a reason why Findem exists is because candidates, even in business to business, can't really transfer the titles.
Right.
It's hard to like, oh, what were you? I was a marketing manager. Were you? No, you did X, Y, and Z, and you did all these different things. And it's like, I'm more than just an analyst. I'm like, I'm a community leader. I'm all these different things. And so, um, as if Harry, if you just want to talk to some of the like issues that you see with clients, even in the B2B space, like trying to translate this stuff, I'd love to hear your perspective on it.
I mean, it is when you think about the challenge here, Mike, translation is one part of it, right? But I think when you think about AI in talent in general, right? I mean, most of what we think about AI today is learned out of public data set. Like LLMs are learned out of what's publicly available. But recruiting is very niche because expertise around identifying the potential of a person is very, very siloed. Like RecruitMilitary is probably one of the very few orgs that really understand how to hire veterans, their habits, their practices. There are needle in the haystack kind of a thing that pattern matches that the recruiter there know how to identify a veteran. The same thing is true when you're looking at, say, executive search. The same thing is going to be true when you're looking at, say, a healthcare vertical, right? The knowledge is very fragmented, right? So there's no single model out there that actually knows everything. So you can't essentially just say, I'm going to AIify recruiting by throwing in some LLM on top and then say it knows everything. It doesn't, right? So part of the exercise, which is very, very interesting when you talk about translation, is to digitize that expertise. How do you digitize that expertise? Findem as a mechanism through this concept of an attribute where we are able to enumerate and articulate the true competencies of what a person's potential is to the way they essentially are being searched. I mean, that's a work that we did, and that's a work that is not touched, that's not just out of box, that's a work that RecruitMilitary and Findem did for many months now to articulate that, and it's still an ongoing process, right? So the aspect of essentially by aspect of digitizing that expertise, you are able to essentially identify the true competency of a person. The same thing is true when you look at it from a B2B perspective, because the impact is how we make hires. We don't make hires based on English one side. You may filter and search. Eventually, when they come to an interview loop, you're looking for that person that I think has a real impact. I'll give you an example. When I'm hiring for Findem, we are a young startup. Usually, I look for, say, someone that has worked in a startup, somebody that's built a B2B SaaS product, somebody has seen career scale. None of what I just described is searchable. Every company is a startup at some point of time. A person who worked in DoorDash in 2015 worked in a startup. The same person today is working in a public company. Now, they mean different experiences because the assumptions of a person to be successful in the company is more than skills. It's about the context around which they're coming in. Right? So, the element of making that elevated into the way you think about people is exactly what Findem provides. And this is more than translation because this is about expertise digitizing inside the platform.
And obviously enhancing trust along the way.
Yes. Yeah.
Because I just wrote about that the other day, that yes, it's great that we have all these tools and everything, but as you mentioned, candidates can use AI to match what your keywords you're looking for, and they're not trusting that they're getting a fair shake to begin with, and you're not trusting that you're getting real candidates. So we sit here hitting like this log jam. So whatever we can do to kind of bring a little bit more humanity back into the space. So it's been great having you guys on the show. I love the partnership. I love to get the word out as much as I can for what you do. And so if people want to find you, just beyond the website, I'm guessing, you find on LinkedIn. I'll be posting this in a couple of weeks, and I'll share it with both of you too. But thank you very much for joining me on the show.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you for having us, Mike.
Thanks for tuning in to the Totally Talent podcast by HR.com. We hope you find today's episode insightful and inspiring. Don't forget to explore more episodes and discover valuable resources at hr.com/podcasts, where you can listen to all of our podcasts. Until next time, keep leading with purpose and making a difference in the world of talent.